I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and I'm not going to try to put this up on that stand. Um, I'm just going to do it this way, and if you just get my nose and upper face, so what? You know, there have been some very nice people on YouTube and Facebook. Been some mean ones too on YouTube, Facebook. A few nice people have spoken out over the years, but most just don't respond other than like or don't get into detail or comment in detail. Oh, I was kidnapped in 41 at age 2 and brought to Moulton, Alabama. Now, let me please this person that called me oh God, don't let me forget the name. She called me on YouTube. I'm not going to mention her name. What did she call me? A little bit of everything. That I need to look back and see what she called me. One of the really demented. Well, if telling the truth is demented, well, then you got the right definition, darling. Now, the thing that got me is I have seen her name on the comments, I think, once or twice in the past. But this one got me because she rolled out the demented and didn't I have family somewhere. This is almost a sick joke if she watched any of my videos at all. I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and Queen Victoria II. My father's Edward VIII. My mom's Claudia Ruth O'Keefe from Madison, Wisconsin, USA, dear. And sister artist Georgia O'Keefe. And it's cold as heck here, and I am not in the best of health. But I'm going to best of health because of the life I've lived. And as far as my state of mind, I bet none of the others could even match me. Okay? As far as I know, and I know, so does my doctors, and so you can get off on calling me names. Tells who you are. Because let me tell you, when some of these other people believe me and know that it's true, and I know they do, I know it's true, I know you understand it, so you're getting off on it. What is it you hate about me? The fact that you kidnapped me and my ransom money, yes it did, flowed into here all over the years just to keep me alive. And you think in the end, if this is ever told, and God help me, it may be. I hope so. What are you going to turn around and say if you have to say anything? Oh, I'm sorry. I just didn't know. I called you demented and all these names rather than trying to help you in different ways, help me in different ways. So I'm going to leave that. I started not to respond, but I'm going to go on because I'm not getting paid for this. And there has to be a reason it was all not done, not just my kidnapping, but all this other, the mind control and patterns and all this. And I hope with this last one up in Wisconsin, that's where my mom's from, Madison, Wisconsin. And I've been telling this, and people can laugh and ignore it, and they're not responsible. This is what someone, a doctor in Atlanta, said. Well, my hands are clean. In other words, he turned around and said, everybody's going to say their hands are clean. They weren't a part of it. They couldn't help it. They'll alibi out. And I want to get this in real quick. Where I lived about a little over 2 years ago, the Freemasons actually, what did they have on the card? It wasn't a car, it was a real fancy, I mean, this wasn't just wasn't a limo, I don't mean that. Well, it wasn't parked. It parked right in front of well, not right in front, it was right next door to where I was living 2.5 years ago. Parked it right there. I was living in a motel, a cheaper one. Excuse me, if my money has gone for ransom and been spread out all over all the years, There's something else I wanted to tell right in the moment, saying I won't. I can't remember. But anyway, it was more a van, but it was a fancy one, and it had Shriners or Freemasons on it. And stayed there for a bit, and I took a picture of it and put it up. A lot of this stuff is I've been putting up over the years, either camera wise or Facebook or YouTube. So I wanted to put this one up to this one person I was speaking of. The thing of, I'm not going to say her name, she was referring to, in this comment to me, she was referring to someone who's supposed to have been a friend of mine, says she was, on YouTube. And she has been commenting and following me, she says, for quite a while. Well, she had asked me specifically over and over to go back, and I'm going to call it rehashing. I've spent my life since 2012, April or March, putting it up on Facebook. Then, and I remember the dates because, really this one, on YouTube, August the 3rd, 2013. So I've been putting all this up over and over, the many videos, all of it, as much as I could. And some of them are redundant over and over. And for someone to come on and demand, and I know she's going to, I started not to even respond to it. She was supposed to be such a good friend, and she would come back wanting me to reiterate about this, that, and the other. I've already spent my life, it's 80 years in this hell. And I began to think, is she doing a book, trying to do a book or something? So in my mind, I thought, well, maybe she's trying to help me. Then this person come back, well, if I didn't answer her, that she could go to Google and, did she say she Googled it? She could Google. And she said something about my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, Windsor. It was appalling. I thought, you've trashed my father, you've trashed me, and now you're going to trash my mom. How dare you? So she'll get off on this, they will, but she was conversing with this person I just talked about. So she wasn't my friend. This person just happened to put up this about me calling me all these names, and she mentioned this. I'm not going to mention her name. I'm not. But she certainly isn't a friend. Well, I knew she wasn't after what she said. She was like threatening me. If I don't come on and answer her questions that she's asking me, like I work for her, well, she's going to go to Google and get it. And she said, this is their words, not mine. But she brought up this, I'm not even going to say it, and accuse my mom. Oh, my God. Now, a lady also asked this, and I hope I'm getting my nose and all this up here. Excuse me, I don't have what you all have. It was stolen from me. This was one item that I bought. Cost me $8 or something, plus the popcorn. I wanted to pop some because I don't need the salt. And quite frankly, I thought it was cute, and I haven't gotten anything for myself. So that's about it. The rest has been, I've been kept penniless. I mean, can you imagine if finally this is told? How, and if they get into detail about it, how I've been referred to. And again, I want to say the people who have been nice to me, but that's not the majority. I live my life. I know what's happened to me to a degree. So the 1% that helped me and was kind and did get involved in trying to help, don't think if this is ever over, and no, I'm not threatening you. I don't have the power to, but maybe you believe in God and He will. You're not going to get credit for what that 1% did. The Brits and the Germans were the ones that came in here and gave their life and everything for me. And 1% of you. Now, if that offends you, can you think of what this does to me? Offends me and my children, my mom and dad? And so I guess this is it. There's some on YouTube. So she called me demented and all these other things. Didn't I have family? Anybody that's watched it knows the Windsors are my family, and the Dempseys were the ones that murdered the twins, and I was put there. Do you think if you don't care about me because I'm Brit, my mom's an American, I'm going to say it again, and do you think that Peggy and Carl, the twins, shouldn't have at least been recognized? They were Americans. They were born in Moulton, Alabama. Kiss my grits. Okay. I wanted to put this up, and this will be down at the bottom. Oh, I wanted to give the definition of the Shriners, because the burn center, I was told in 80 after they almost killed me, April Fool Day of 80. And I was crossing, and I'm beginning to feel like everybody should see and know what was done at that time, not just the lobotomy that was ordered by Nixon out of the White House. Yes, it was ordered. Ransom money. If they didn't cross their palms, they had me laid out there, and why don't you question some of these people? Because certainly along and demand a hearing and all that, and it be told, and see who's standing then. And I don't have this written down. I do this, so I'm just going to get to this. I think it says your definition. Maybe I said this. I can't hear this morning. It's cold as heck out here, and I'm having problems with my ears hearing and seeing. The Shriners and Masons, Freemasons, according to the definition, is opposed to Christianity and the whole system of supernatural. So that's what they're calling Christianity and God. Okay, the gentleman in 80, and I think this is a long way about getting back to it, in 80 after they almost killed me, and I'm working for the district attorney, Fred Simpson, in 80. And there's another campaign going on there in Huntsville, and I'm not going to get into the names or anything. Jack Hartsville, I put up letters from him, and poor Jack, he's deceased now. He was 3 years older than me. He was FBI and worked for the Huntsville Times. Later moved out next to Abiquiu, where George O'Keefe, my aunt, is. He moved out there in when I was in the campaign, 83 and 84, into Santa Fe. So, you're not dummies. Who says that on some kind of oh yeah, I know the commercial. There's people on here that are very intelligent, but they're willing to tell the truth. So this one that I'm directing this to in a roundabout way, and some of the others on Facebook are just out there in general. You know what I'm saying. You just don't like the idea that you have to admit one day, perhaps, what this country has done. Its crimes and all that. And I know that I've already gotten flacked all my life for all this, so for telling the truth. So help me God. Okay, back to the Shriners and back to working at the district attorneys. At that time, I didn't know what this person meant. And he stuck his neck out. He was a good man, and he was in a campaign there at the time. And you had some of the, I'm not going to involve anybody else, some of the policemen there that were, helping in what was said. I was told, I think it's the Shriners, isn't it? They go around the little carts and the hats. Anyway, what's happened in all this is hostage money to keep me alive and my children. Mark and Scott, heirs after me, they funneled it through the burn center there. So when you see all these The money in charity, not all of it, but a lot of it, was ransom money for me, and it's funneled through, and you're giving credit to these thugs, these low-life scumbag criminals, thugs, mafia. Call the Shriners, call the Freemasons, call the Illuminati, call them what you want. I hope they stand before God, because all these people seem to believe in God, and quite frankly, I hope He is. I'm not going to go any further because I've been told some that really sounds, and I've never put it up, so I'm going to leave it there. I do know this, what I was talking about, writing about mind control murders and all that, has culminated, and I never knew back then it was going to come to that when I was talking about the murders done in patterns, the Tesla files and all that, that it would have anything to do with end times. I know Lionel Dempsey was Freemason, and Matthew, who was the one that said the real piggy was fed to the pigs, and that was about a week before I was brought over and given her name. So they knew it was going to happen. But they were Freemasons, Lina and he were. Well, Eastern Star. She was an Eastern Star. And one of that family who had the decency, the Dempseys, sent me the pictures of the Dempseys that was gussied up when I was about 3 years old and had been brought over there at age 2. They didn't have cars. They didn't have the clothes. Somebody had to have paid for those. It didn't show the shack, but it didn't show how and what they did to me. But anyway, he sent me a genealogy thing back where the Dempseys and Martises went way back in the Freemasons. Now, this is in Moulton, Alabama. So you really wonder about them. How much power, obviously, they control your press now. So anyway, this is going off in a couple of minutes. It's hostage money. That was when Kissinger had Gonzalez laid me out, drugged on the bed with Rohypnol, but I knew what was happening, in College Park, Georgia, in 1972, going to lobotomize me. And the call came from the White House by Kissinger. Nixon, of course, ordered it. It was on his phone. His secretary tried to cover the 18.5-minute gap up. It was subpoenaed. He, Kissinger, your Jew, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State, way up now. He's at the top of the global government. Your, what is that, okay. Well, I can't think of that name. Anyway, the United Nations that's the front for your global government now. That's in power. So, I'm going to stop now because it's going to go off, and I'm going to do number 2 here this morning. Second video. I want to say before I go, to medicine, I don't want to, let me just put this. For the 2, and the other one's named Scott, nice name, they have been very nice, supportive. I mean, they have no problem understanding any of this. And some of the women, I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to mention any names, have been very nice. And then there's been some humdingers. Excuse me, that's a little southern for. Okay.